are live. I'm just going to bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction. I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna. It's in the description. He's got some, actually, I'm going to describe it. You know what? I said I wasn't good, didn't need it. Said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Bauer's Game Corner, I think, is the name of the channel. Maybe I butchered it. He does critiques. He does Kickstarter critiques. And he saw ours. He did a critique of our Kickstarter. And it was so refreshing. I had to have him on because, man, like, it's just, you can't argue with the content. It's just great. So, Bauer, thanks for coming on.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I know I said that I was going to play the trailer and we talk about it, but then I was like, nah, whatever. We don't have to do that. And then I know I had the countdown timer was going down. I know you're in a rush, and I also know you have ADHD or what ADHD. So I was like, nah, just screw the counter. Let's just go for it. So if you could just tell us a bit about, like, I saw on your profile it said you're a publisher yourself, right?
I did one game very long ago, like years and years ago, and I could not. I hate running Kickstarters. Like, it's just the stress and everything. It's not for me. But I have done before. I've run 6 or 7 of them, but only one for a game.
All right. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let me see if this works. All right. All right. This is fine. This is fine. That background is annoying me. So guys, everybody here, if you have comments, if you want to, ask questions or join the conversation, as always, you're watching it, you can leave a comment here. We can bring it up and we can talk. So what got you? Okay. So first of all, your critique is actually a service. Like, you have a Fiverr account and everything, like, right?
That's kind of, well, I lost my job. And so I just was like, you know what? I'm going to try and explore my boundaries with Bauer's Game Corner. And so I just kind of threw everything against the wall. And one of the ideas that I had was also to run a Fiverr where I could maybe take some of my board game knowledge that I've acquired over the years and offer it to other people. And so I started to just do the Kickstarter critiques and then hope that maybe I could attract people to pay me to do them. But then they just became popular and people really started to enjoy them. And so now it's like, honestly, one of the main things I do on my channel. And people really seem to be enjoying it.
Well, I feel like I owe you money now. But maybe you'd settle for a free copy of High Noon.
Definitely. I mean, it looks like a cool game. I love what you're going there with. It just feels like the brawl, like the big brawl and the shootouts and all the cool stuff.
Yeah, so that is entirely what I was going for. So you had some interesting thoughts about the campaign, and the floor is yours. You can. I really just wanted to have a good conversation, a candid conversation with you, because what I got out of the review was not just the critique, but like, you are expecting better of campaigns, and I mean, maybe you're not, but that's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it.
No, I don't. I honestly, I don't know who they're for. I don't like the Kickstarter critiques are so weird, because when I first started, I was like, people were like, "You're way too mean," and so I was like, "Okay, I gotta chill out." And then I'm just constantly trying to morph because I don't want to be too harsh, but at the same time, it's just a lot of times I'll see stuff and I'll be like, "Well, I wonder why they did this or why they did that," and it's just I just kind of talk out loud. It's a weird segment. Because when you explain the idea of the segment itself, it's like, oh, there's this dude, and he comes out and he looks at just your thing. He's never played the game. He doesn't know you, and he just looks at everything you've got, and then he just says, oh, you did great, or no, you did bad, or oh, maybe you should do this better or that. It's such a weird concept in itself.
It's like a market tester, though. It's a singular, it's a focus group of one, but I mean, it's highly valuable for people going in to create a Kickstarter page, and they think, I want to make it. How hard can it be? Seeing reviews, critiques like yours, seeing critiques like yours, it's like, oh, it draws you to think of things you may not have thought of. There were a couple of things that you had even said that you were like, why didn't they put this on the front? And actually, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll just go ahead and do that. But it's not something. They weren't things that even like the big guys do. So it wasn't even something that I could have foreseen, but the fact that you thought of it, it's valuable. Like, it's like, it's like a whole outside the box thinking.
All my ideas are not things that I think of. They're things that I see over, just because I've done tons of Kickstarter projects as a board game reviewer as well. I mean, I've looked at thousands of Kickstarter pages, and it's just, I've seen things that are like, wow, that's really great. And people really like that. And for some reason, we have like this copycat hobby especially on Kickstarter, where people are like, this is the way to do it. This is how we do it. You get in this box, you stay in this box. And all the time I see people who go outside of the box. I'm just like, wow, that was so refreshing and different. And it's just like a personal touch on videos. I don't think enough game companies do the personal touch. And maybe you don't have it sometimes, but it's just, there's lots of different ways to go with a Kickstarter. And like the Tuesday launch thing, everybody, the gospel, you got to launch on Tuesday. You got to launch on Tuesday. That is the day. And it's just getting to the point where everyone launches on Tuesday. And it's like, even if you're running a great campaign, there might still be 20 more campaigns that are being run just a little bit better. And yours is going to get bumped down and nobody's going to see it. And they're just these tropes, and I don't get why they are there. I'm sure there are numbers and money and different things behind them, but Kickstarter is just ever changing and evolving. And I don't know. I got strong opinions.
It seems counterintuitive, like because so we launched on a Friday, and everyone was like, "No, don't do that. It's a Friday." I'm like, why not? And they're like, "Oh, you want to do it on a Thursday or something because it's stronger." And I was like, well, if that, and in my head, I was like, well, if that's the case, then everybody's doing it. So by virtue of that, wouldn't it not be stronger? Like, wouldn't it be stronger to not do that? Plus, it was my birthday. So I was like, no, it was my birthday.
Yeah, Friday. That was what caught me off guard as well. And that's what really intrigued me by it. I said Monday, it was Friday. That's right. Because nothing launches on Friday. Like, nobody does it. It's like, oh, good. And I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
So what was your biggest turnoff about the Kickstarter page?
Honestly, you would have to refresh my memory about some of them. Like it's just because
you see so many all the time.
Yeah, and I don't come into it with an agenda, like you said. It's just I click on it, I consume it. I dig as deep as I possibly can into it for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then just I'm out. Like I completely disconnect from it, and then I move on to the next one. Yeah. I remember it was the pre-order. Wasn't yours the one that it was like it was pretty much just a very blatant pre-order, but you handled it like, yeah, this is what's going on. Whereas a lot of people they kind of make it like sketchy, like, like Queen Games. It's like, no, this is what we're doing. Like, this is what we decided to do. And I was like, that's nice that you're just like, bam, hit me with it.
Well, you know what? The way I feel about it is it's false stigma anyway. Like it's all pre-orders. Every single one of these Kickstarters is a pre-order. It just happens that mine was produced. Like the others are, hey, it's a pre-order you might get, maybe, or you could just be pre-ordering me a trip to Mexico. Like I used to watch the channel Kick Scammers when I was building into this. Have you heard of that? It's the guy Slopes.
I have not.
It's a whole YouTube channel of nothing but these scams where these Kickstarters would raise millions of dollars and then just poof, they're gone. And before I went into my first campaign, I started really getting worried because I was like, that's what we're going up against. Is there's already these people, these backers, a lot of them are super backers. They've been taken advantage of. Taken for a ride so many times. They've given there's even like there's like a whole thread I think on Reddit where it's like, how many of you guys have games that you still haven't gotten in like a year or ever? And there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars these people give, and they don't get anything from it because these people run off with their money. And there was just recently there was this guy who he raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then he didn't deliver, and then he did an update, and he was apparently drinking during the update, like he even discloses in the update like he'd been drinking. And then in the whole thing, he's like, guys, listen, I'm so sorry. It's really expensive to make a game. And I mean, look at my expenses. And it's like they're all his salary. Like he took out like half of the budget that he raised and paid himself with it. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to be that guy. And I didn't want to put myself at the risk of being that guy. I was like, screw it. We're going into production of the core game. And that is going to be there. You will get that. And then it just so happened that it was going to be ready by the time we launched. But I just see every campaign as a pre-sale. I just think people don't like to admit it. Even then, and then now there's like this stigma where it's like, well, you made your game, so do you even need Kickstarter? Do you even need it? And it's like, yeah, I do. Actually, I need it more than you do because I put my money where my mouth was. Where were you? Anyway, that's my passion. That's my passionate side. But I get it. I understand. So yeah, I tried to be honest. about it.
I agree. It really has become to that. I will push a little bit. They're not all like
Okay.
that. I still see
Yeah.
plenty where it's like, this will never exist without your help. And it's like, those are fewer and far between though.
Yeah, sure. No, and the thing what we really wanted to drive for our campaign is that we're really trying to raise money for our expansions, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to do a retail launch. And what I see, and I could be wrong, and this is where, like, I don't look at thousands of campaigns. I just have the funnel that I have. But what I see from Kickstarters is they do prints. They do a run of a print, and maybe it hits Amazon, or maybe it hits eBay, or maybe there's a retailer that has some copies, but it's mostly because the retailer did a retail pledge and that's what they got. Beyond that, there's no real legs for, hey, this is going to be a brand. This is going to be a thing. This is going to be another Catan. This is going to be another, line of Risk, or another Dungeons and Dragons style line, or whatever. It's like a one-off. And that's not what we're doing. We're trying to enter into the retail market with the widest possible offering so that we can have longevity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. That's exactly, and I see it all the time. It's that second edition or that first expansion for the game where they offer the deluxeified. It just pretty much is just paying for the first edition. Yeah, I agree completely on that.
So you had man, I know you're short for time, because you have kids, you're a family man, and I really appreciate you even coming on and talking about this. I did not invite you to talk about me or my campaign. I really love just your raw take on things. And you had said something, and I had mentioned it in our message. You'd mentioned something about disingenuous. You had taken, and so I just want to touch on that, because I think it came from a very good, like a very right place. You'd looked at my previous campaign. It was canceled. We did funding and it was canceled. And I think at that point, I have to recall from memory, but I think at that point you looked at that and you were like, this is kind of disingenuous. Do you recall that moment in your review?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Okay. What was going on in your mind to like when you saw that? What was going on for you? Because I totally, like, I'm looking at, when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I know where he would get that impression. But I'd like to know from your perspective, where did you see the disingenuousness?
I always feel like it looks like that when any company like hits the goal and then they're over the goal and people are excited and people are like, yes, this is going to come to life. And they're like, yeah, we feel like we could do this better though. So you take that excitement, you bottle it back up. We'll be back in a month, and you bring that excitement again. And it's just,
right.
And it's just when there's hundreds. I mean, I think I did a video on it. There was 42 games that launched a couple weeks ago on a Tuesday. When you're up against that many, it's just like, I feel like it's an oof. But I mean, I understand why. It's like, we think we can come back and we can make so much more money. It's just, I feel like if a company goes to the well with that too many times, it could start biting them in the ass.
Sure, because then people are going to be like, yeah, whatever, dude. So what? You're going to cancel this one, and then you're going to relaunch, and then you'll just cancel that one. Forget it. I'm out. I'm not even going to back. I see that a lot with and a lot. I mean, again, a lot of my funnel, my very limited frame, I see that a lot for like campaigns that anticipate they're going to be making millions.
Yup.
And when they don't make millions, that's when they cancel. And I'm not a mind reader. I'm not even a Wish.com's version of Dr. Phil. So I can't really get into the brain. But what I get out of that is that they see Kickstarter as the cash grab. And full disclosure, like the very first campaign, we had a slightly larger team. And a good amount of that team saw dollar signs in the campaign. When the dollar signs didn't arrive, they bumped out. And I didn't want the campaign to be a cash grab. I wanted to launch my game. I wanted to get the game into the market. I'm happy where I'm at. I was actually talking to the team today. We're sitting at 102,000. Our goal was 60. And this is another thing, is there's like, people are calling it like a secret goal. Like they have this fake goal, and that's what they say is their funding goal. Then they have the secret goal, and that's what they're really after.
That is very true. I've talked to companies before who've said, yeah, that's the truth. And sometimes, like, I have an issue with that when it's just so obvious, when it's like, we need $3,500 to make this miniatures game, and you're like,
right.
what?
You're like,
What?
what? No. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I've seen like there's those games that like, and I've seen like yes, it's similar like maybe it's like 5,000 to between under 10,000 is what they're going for, and you're like, that's not even covering a production run of your minis. Like that's not even covering your mold fee. You haven't even paid for your mold fee. Now we when we set out this time around, I wanted to make sure that if we just hit our goal, would that be a win? If we just hit this, what could this achieve? So rest assured, this campaign is here to stay. no hidden goals here, but I completely agree with you. And when you said that, I was like, yes, thank God there's people out there talking about it. That hidden goal thing really, and it's becoming a hot button issue now because there's been some pretty popular games that have done hundreds of thousands of dollars and then they just cancel. Yeah. And people are saying, yeah, it's because they had a hidden goal. And it's just a shame. It's a shame that they just couldn't be honest. Why not? Why can't you just come out? If that's your goal, just come out and say that. What do you think is the reason why they can't just do that? And I'm talking about the big guys. I'm talking about the ones that are like, I wanted to raise 500,000, and they're big, established companies. They could get away with it. Come on, could get away with it. They could be like, hey, my goal is $1 million. Well, why not? Why don't they just do that?
With the Batman game, I think their goal is like 150,000.
Who did that?
Cryptozoic did that. They had the solo Batman game. I think the goal was like 150,000. They were very upfront about it. I don't know. I think it's just. I honestly, I have no clue why they wouldn't. I think it's just like why doesn't Simon just say we need $600,000 to do this? I think because you'd get more people blowing back on it. I don't know. I think they're just. You'd have to talk to them because it really is a good question.
Yeah. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming on board. I really appreciated your review. There were a couple in my group who are like, my group, the guy who came to me and showed it to me was like, this guy makes some great points. I was like, awesome. And then I showed it to a couple of, other people, and they were like, ew, this guy, he went from a 1 to a 2 to a 1 to a 0 to a 1 again. Think of his mind. And he won't even read. He wouldn't even watch your things. I will say, you had some qualms about review and preview. That was the thing. You were like, this is a preview. This isn't a review. This is a preview.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
All right. I laughed. Because I did what you said. I mean, it was like, I just sent out, I had 50 copies. I just sent them out to everyone. I was like, hey, give me what you got. That's what I got. So that's what you're going to have to deal with. But one of them is a review, okay? They said preview, but they're totally a review. All right.
I wonder why they did that. Like, that's odd.
It's not my fault. I didn't do it. But anyway, I really appreciate everything you did. You did a great critique. And for those of you watching, his description his link is in the description of the video. It's what is the name of your channel called? I'm not looking at it right this
Bauer's Game Corner.
Bauer's Game Corner. He does critiques every day at 2 p.m. Is that what it is?
Every weekday at 2 p.m. we do a board game one, and then I started doing a bunch of other stuff as well on Kickstarter. But the weekday ones live streams at 2 p.m.
Yeah. So you guys check that out. Just go ahead and click the subscribe in his channel, so you'll get notifications on your phone. Check it out. They're really great They're really great critiques. They're just honest. And they're fun because he has an attention deficit disorder. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, having said that, is there any last parting gifts you'd like to leave the people before you go?
Nope. I hear my kids yelling at each other upstairs. I think I just gonna have to get moving.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking, and I look forward to watching more of your videos. Take care.
Have a good day.